Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you guys today about a few things, just stuff that's been going on, but also um, I wanted to check out to see if I could get the computer
Out to
hooked
see
up.
if I can get the
So apparently it works. Uh, but the main thing I wanted to do is I wanted to come talk to you about some of the experiences that I've been going through and how I have handled them, and this involves death. So it's not sad. This is not going to be sad, but I think it'll be very interesting because of the way I experience things. I wanted to give you guys a little story and like talk about how I witnessed it versus when I talked to Archangel Metatron and Michael and Ramses and how they viewed it. So let's begin. So I've been kind of absent lately. My grandmother passed away, and my grandmother and I were best buds. So I always think, like, I always knew when this was going to happen, that it was going to be really hard for me. And I didn't quite know what the grieving process would look like. But I wasn't really prepared for it either. So my birthday was on March 8th, and my grandma happened to pass away on March 8th. And I wanted to tell you the story of what I experienced in this whole thing because I think a lot of us, as our gifts open, are going to start to be able to have the option to experience these as we help our loved ones pass over. And I think this can be really helpful for those of you who have questions regarding um, some experiences you may have had or some experiences other people in your family have had. And so this is what I wanted to talk about. Today, it's been a crazy day. So on March 7th, we had gotten a call from my parents, and they had said that my grandma had taken a fall and that she was being taken to the ambulance. And we don't live close to home. And so I knew that we wouldn't be able to just run down and be with her. And I wanted to spend some time with her. And I knew I could do that in my spirit, in astral. And so when I went to bed that night, I connected in with her energy, and I didn't even meditate. I just closed my eyes and I connected with my grandma's energy, and I sent my spirit to her hospital room. Now, I had no idea what her hospital room looked like. But when I was there, I wasn't bilocating at first. It was just my spirit. So she couldn't see me. It was more like I was alongside her, not in the physical, but like in her head. And she was talking to me, and she was really shocked that she could hear me. And she was talking to me telepathically. And she kept saying, I know that this is not happening. I know that this is some trick, or she's a very religious woman. So she kept saying very religious things like, are you sure you're my granddaughter? Like, you could be the devil, or, things like that. But she said, tell me some things that only you would know. So after a while, I was able to convince her that it was me. And then she asked why I was here and how I was able to be with her. And I didn't necessarily explain everything, but I did explain it in a way where I wanted to teach her to use telepathy to talk to me because we're so far away and I couldn't be there. And they would only allow, with COVID, they would only allow my mother in the hospital anyway. My grandfather wasn't even able to go to the hospital. And so she had all these questions, and I said, like, here's the deal, grandma, you broke your hip, and they're going to do hip surgery tomorrow. And she's like, well, I want to go. I'm ready. to go. I want to go home. And this was her thing for many, many months. So this wasn't anything new. She had wanted to go. She was going to be 90. We're 50 years apart, so 40. Yeah, she was going to be 90. Um, and I kept saying, "Well, Grandma, you can't leave." Kind of selfishly, saying, "Well, Grandma, you can't leave. You have Grandpa here, and you have us, and I don't want you to leave." And she kept saying, "Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to go." And then she said, "How are you even able to talk to me?" And I said, "Well, you're using telepathy, Grandma." I said, I'm laying in my bed in my home, and I said, "When you wake up tomorrow, and you can call me on the phone, and we can talk all about this experience if you're able to remember it." And she's like, "No," she's like, I'm done." But she was very interested. She was picking my brain, and so I taught her how to telepathically talk to me because she was doing it already. She just didn't know that she could do it. So I just said all she had to do now that she knows what she's doing is just to match my energy. And I said, "Grandma, there's more to this right now. You in your bed, in your hospital bed, hooked up to IVs, than you realize." I said, "There's worlds that you could be visiting right now. You don't have to be in the pain of your body. You can always come back to your body, tomorrow. It's not like you just leave and you die." I said, "The soul physically stays in your body, but you as your spirit can travel, and that's what I'm using to travel to you." And it took her a while to figure this out, but I explained that the spirit can travel within the planet. The astral travels outside in the astral realms in the planet, but because we were in the planet, we were on, physically in the hospital and stuff. I was using my spirit, and she was using her spirit to talk. And I said, "Grandma," I said, "let's get you popped out of your body." And like, because she's so religious, she didn't quite know what this was, but at the same time, she had kind of flatlined a few times, and I kept saying, "No, like, come back, Grandma." And she came back. And finally, I was able, with help from a couple of the angels, I was able to get her out of body. And at first, when she kind of sat up, then I uh, took myself, and I was actually bilocating. So like I was standing there by her bed so she could see what was going on. And she saw, well, she saw there was my people on one side, and there was angels, and there was her people, her family on the other side. And she's like, what is going on? Why can I see these people? Like, there's nobody here. It's nighttime. And I said, "Well, Grandma," I said, "this is your family. This is your family that's passed over. They're coming to check on you. They've been here the whole day. As soon as they knew that you got here, they've been watching over you." And then she's like, "Well, what is this? What are these people over here?" And I said, "Well, these are my friends, Grandma. These are my people, and they're here to help you and to protect me." Um, and so at this time, she was really interested. She kind of forgot, the pain that she was in, and what was all going on. And she's like, "So you're saying, like, I can leave?" "I can absolutely leave." And I was like, "Yeah, we can get you out of body, and you can actually walk over to go visit your family." And then she took one more look around, and this is the interesting thing. So this is a little lesson that I learned. She took a look around one more time, and the way that I saw it and the way that I heard her say, "Why is there a how does she say that? Why is there a man who looks like Ramses from the Bible," or something like that. She used his name, Ramses, from the Bible. And um, later on, when I was asking about this, when I had someone channel for me and I was asking about this, our Archangel Metatron said that what he remembers her saying was that, "Who is this Pharaoh from the Bible?" That she didn't give him a name, but because I knew who he was, I gave him the name. And this happened one other time, after we got her out of her body so she could stand up, and we taught her kind of how to walk over to her family. Um, the way I saw it happening was that Michael, not Archangel Michael, one of my guides, Michael, came running in, panting, like out of breath. And those of you know, like guides don't have to do that. Like, saying, I'm sorry, I'm late. I came as soon as I could. I didn't realize I was late. And when I was talking to Michael in this channeling session, he said that he remembered him saying, rushing in because he was late and saying, I'm sorry, I'm late. But he didn't have, like, he wasn't panting, he wasn't running. And so my brain filled those in. So before I continue with the story, I just want to talk about this for a second. So, what I've learned is that even though I'm experiencing these things, because I'm connected to the human brain, there are certain things that the human brain gets confused about because it's viewing it's viewing it's viewing everything differently. Technically, I'm in my bed and I'm out of body. I'm using my spirit to go places and to see and to think and all that stuff. So the human brain is attached and it's trying to fill in these small sections where it's getting confused. It's trying to relate things back to the human essence. And so that's why it's throwing in these pantings and these like knowing who it was. I mean, it was Ramses, but my grandma didn't know that. She didn't have a name for him, but that's what my brain naturally filled in because that's what I, deal with a lot. So I think it's very interesting that you can have all these experiences and everybody around you can have all these experiences, not human experiences, but, astral experiences, spiritual experiences. And a lot of us wonder, like, if we're crazy, like if we're having these experiences and we're crazy, like my big question was this a way of my grief for coping? Like, was this just something I imagined? And then, well, the answer was, well, you couldn't have imagined it if we all have memories of it. And I was like, okay, that's valid. I mean, I guess that's valid. But that it's interesting that we always want to know if we're right or we viewed it correctly or we interpreted correctly. And the truth of it is, even when you're in your spirit, or even if you're bilocating, or even if you're an astral, you view it in accordance to your essence and your brain, whether you're using the heart or the brain or whatever type of brain that you're using. We have different brains. We can talk about that later. But because everything is always in flux, everybody, even on the different realms, will have they will see things differently of how it actually happened. So I think this is helpful when we're all wondering if we're interpreting these things correctly, if we saw these things correctly. We have to understand that just like two people sitting at a dinner table, you're not viewing it from the same eyes. You're viewing it from two different eyes. And so therefore, you will have two different ideas of what happened. You can't view it the same because you're not the same people. So I thought that was very interesting, and I thought that was a really good lesson. And so to continue with my story, once we got her up and she was visiting, and then she went to her side and she came back over to my side, and I I was a little nervous. Like I didn't know if she was going to want me to explain um, the people that she was seeing, and um, she turned to the Egyptian pharaoh standing there and he called her grandmother. And I thought that was really adorable. And then when she turned to talk to Michael, she goes, well, now I know that um, now I know that I am hallucinating or I'm having a feverish dream because Michael's here. There's no reason that like Michael would be here. It's probably me attempting to remember fond memories of things that my granddaughter enjoyed and things like that. And so I left her that night after we got her back in bed and she was sleeping. And in the morning when I woke up, she was we were having conversations back and forth, and they had brought her into surgery, and she had said that she just wanted to go, but that she wasn't able to go yet. And so what happened was that She actually did pass on the operating table, and she was able to go up. She said she came to me. Well, she telepathically spoke to me, and she's like, "I'm free. I can feel myself going up. I have help. Everybody's here, and they're guiding me." And she was really, really happy. And then all of a sudden, she said, "I don't know what's going on. It's black. It's pitch black." I got sucked. She said, "I think I got pulled back into my body." And then my dad called later, probably like 2 minutes later after this came through, and he said, Grandma had died on the table and they put her on life support to try to get her heart going again. And they did. And so now this is where we are. And they're trying to put a pacemaker in. And this wasn't even, she didn't even, the whole point is she was going in for broken hip. It wasn't a pacemaker. There was all kinds of strange things about this. But she said to me, she said, "What is going on?" And I said, "Grandma," I said, they have you on life support right now. And she said, "But I just want to go. I'm done here." And I said, I know. I said, "The only way from my understanding to do this is that something has to happen. Like the life support machine has to fail. Either it's got to be unplugged or there's got to be like a malfunction. And I don't think that happens very easily. And they're trying to resuscitate you." And I said, "The only thing I can think of is that you get your people and your team to like help you do this. I can't use my free will. That's something that I can't do. I don't have the ability to do this for you. I can't do that. But your team can call on God. He can do that for you. I can't." So time passed. I didn't know what was going on. And then all of a sudden, um, she came to me and she's like, I don't know what happened, but I'm free and I'm leaving and I love you so much and I'll see you soon." And it was kind of bittersweet, right? Because as much as I wanted her here, I knew that she was ready to go. And you would think that because I have a specific understanding of an interaction with other realms and the spiritual realm, and that it would be easier for me. And um, it was and it wasn't. A couple minutes later, my dad called and he said, "Grandma passed." And I said, "Well, how is that possible?" Because she was hooked up to the machines. And he said he's not really sure, but that the last he heard that somehow the machine got unplugged and she was able to go. And I just thought, that's really a testament to everything that I was experiencing, and that she was able to go. And so that was kind of the first thing. And so dealing with the heartache on a 3D level is one thing, and then um, having my grandmother pass on my birthday, that's entirely something else. And then the next night, I was laying in bed and I was going to meditate, and um, in my meditation, uh, God or the divine spirit or whoever you want to call him came to me and said, I have a gift for you. I know you've been going through a lot lately, and I want to show you something." So he took me up, and there was this party, and it looked like it was like the best I can think about it or explain it was like this 1920s type 30s kind of goldish. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but it was a very nice like theater or a nice dance hall. And I said, "What is going on here?" And he said, "Well," he said, "this is her party." And I was like, "Are you serious? Like, does everybody get parties when they pass?" And he said, "Well, it's whatever everybody wants to do for them and whatever they want to do once they get here to the afterlife. They can have a party if they want, if their relatives or soul family wants to throw one for them, or it could just be kind of quiet and just some family." And he's like, "I want to take you to her." And so um, he took me to her, and I saw her, and she was so beautiful. She was like in her 20s, maybe 30s. But my grandma was always super smart. She was always a businesswoman. So she had on this like 1940s suit, and she was just adorable. And in my experience, she came and we sat down, and I had all these questions for her, and she stopped me, and she had one question for me, and she wanted to know if I felt that she did a good job, um, as my grandmother, as a person that I could really relate to, um, where I couldn't really relate to any of my other family because I felt so odd and so different. But like my grandma, that's a different story. My grandma and I were super close, and I said, "Well, yeah, grandma, of course you did. I love you so much, and you were so special to me." And I did feel that in my heart, and that you and I were very much connected, and you did a great job. And so we talked about all sorts of things where she's like, "I don't really remember my life." Now, this is like a day or so after she passed. She said, "I don't really remember my life. I remember everything as just kind of a roundabout way of like what all happened, but I don't remember specifics already." And I thought that was very interesting. And then um, and then we were joined at the table, and then there was a loud noise in my room, and I got bumped out of the meditation, and so I didn't get to come back into the meditation. But I thought it was really interesting. I got to ask her how she was doing, and if she felt like people were explaining things to her, and she said she was doing really well. She was very, very happy. She didn't remember her life, other than like kind of a general um, idea of it. And so I've been kind of discussing these things with some of my team and my guides, and they let me know that she's in her life review. And so there's this time between where when somebody passes, and then they can be around their loved ones to make sure their loved ones are okay, are doing well. And I was in channeling practice one night, last week before. I don't even remember. The days are just uh, kind of all lumped into one. And so we had just done this grounding exercise, and I felt her hand on my shoulder, and I felt her energy, and it was really emotional for me. Like, I can sit here and talk about it, but I mean, I still miss her. And she kept saying, "I'm here, don't cry." And I'm like, "Grandma, it's a little different now. Like, I know that you're here. I know that you're here in spirit. I can feel your energy. I know you have your hand on my shoulder." But it's like this human letting go of the physical, of knowing that I can't just call you up on the phone. My phone now is going to be a little different. It's not going to be like a human phone that I can just call you up on. And it's sad. It's sad to let you go. It's sad to let the physical go. And she's like, "But don't be sad. I'm right here." And I was like, "Well, we can talk about this later, Grandma." And so um, she was kind of popping in here and there, and she's in her life review now. And so I haven't heard much. I don't know how long. Everybody's life review is a little different. You get to kind of schedule it once you feel comfortable. But there's teams on the other side that get you acquainted, because I know I'm talking a lot with my hands today. Um, because once you are in, like, let's just use my grandma for example. Once you're in the hospital bed, and you kind of feel your soul like it's ready to leave, right? The cord is ready to break. You have people around you, and you start to become aware in your human body of those extra dimensional energies. And so even though you're still in the human, around the time of death, you start to remember some of this stuff. So for some people, I'm sure that not everybody is like, "Oh, I remember this," but at least it starts to feel comfortable. It's not like a blast where like all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my gosh, where am I now?" If you're all of a sudden taken out somehow, like whether you're in a war or whatever, then it can be a little jarring, and you're like, "I'm not sure what's going on." But specifically for my grandma, when she was lying in her bed and the soul was getting ready to leave, those energies of the extra dimensions start creeping in. So it makes it a little bit easier. And then when they help you kind of get your legs, your sea legs, right? Because now you're back home, and all of a sudden you have this memory of like everything that you are, or everything that is in your essence. And so it fades, the 3D fades pretty quickly. Obviously, a lot of times people are concerned, like my grandma's going around making sure all the family members are okay, even though they can't see her or maybe even know that they feel her. But there is some learning once you get over it, and there's people to help you with that, to help you like remember that everything is there. You can be wherever you want to be whatever you want to be. It's all there. You just have to think it. And so, um, I don't know. This has just been my experiences lately, and I don't know if this may be helpful for you guys, but I thought I would pass it on. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So I don't know much else. I'll leave you guys with the blessing, and we'll say good night. Ustaka ana shutu sukutulu, nani asku umap, tiala ashkoto sukoto, nayasata alabushko, iateniski tiatolo, popto kodiashkanana, ia soloto shukayashu os, ia po otiaskatiata, ia na ala ato oskobo, tiashohoto, maniasta la apa, kashikusho shuniata, naleati kuto, Piaskataano ulo oshki atias niata na hala iasono ma kuusho kopoto tiaska ashania ma ala tiasko taha sana iato poko na leato nasuniano. Namaste. All right, so many blessings, you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you later.